All right, welcome to a new episode of Talking Area 51. I am your host, 51 Spade. If you new to the channel, hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell. Help build a community. I want to thank y'all for that. And we're going to get into the show today. We're going to be talking about Areanas in the arena. Now, if you're a fan of Gil's Arena like I am, I'm quite sure that y'all have noticed the change that has went down on the show. It went from the arena, from Gil's Arena to the arena. And this was the change started to happen once he got arrested for the gambling accusations that went down. And then once he was released, we saw a change in the show where the regular guys that we looked at, like Rashard McCann, Kenya Martin, Swaggy P, Gilbert himself wasn't on there. And then all of a sudden you saw Skip Bayless and a whole new cast and crew on there, which left a lot of people's eyebrows rising up, and then there was really no answers really behind it. They just kind of gave it to us, and no one had really asked the questions. So right here, Gilbert was on a live stream, and he was kind of giving explanation of what went down with the show. We're going to deep dive into this a little bit and listen to what he had to say, and then we're going to deep dive into a conversation.
Most people don't like the grind of anything, right? You know, they want something that's already turned key and go. So why should they start from the beginning? Listen, we are expensive. We're not your average podcast expenses. We get paid a lot of money. So because they pay us a lot of money and we not taking no pay cuts in here, if they say your ass gonna do 2 days a week and we want to try what they do for 3 days a week and we keep our money, hey man, hey, do your thing, man. We'll see. Shit. Do your thing, man, right? Because at the end of the day, we can say, oh, hell nah, fuck that. And then they start cutting contracts. So if they want to go ahead and try 3 days a week until football season's over with and then recheck their hand, cool. Everybody still got their jobs.
Employment is key.
I can tell you this. With the way our contracts is doing, they could say, hey, man, we're going to let about 6-7 of y'all go and turn y'all ass into. Yeah.
I'm kind of confused. And again, I feel like I'm asking too many questions, so I'm not.
No, you can take over this playback right now, sir, because if you ask questions, we can answer them. We will not bring these topics up. But
we ain't no sellouts.
Okay, because this is now forcing me to ask very specific questions just because how familiar I am with the community and like what's going on in the space.
Okay.
So I'll just cut to the chase. Who owns the channel?
50-50.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounds like 49-59. I mean, 51-49.
No. Well, okay. So here was the deal. So,
And I want to stop right here just to address something that happened right then and there where you saw BJ say we ain't sellouts. And that's kind of the narrative that's being pushed right now. Like, damn, why did you sell out? Why didn't you keep 100% of it? It's your name, you're building it. And, for you to do a 50-50 deal, damn, like, why'd y'all sell out? Now, I got a lot of questions when it comes to this word. A lot of people that are not business savvy, and I want to bring up some points in the real question, if you think that he is a sellout when you're talking about you having an idea. Now, keep in mind, we're looking at what's going on right now because Gil's Arenas is what it is now. So it's easy for people to say, well, damn, that's a sellout. Like, look at what you're doing. Look what you're accomplishing. But keep in mind, when he's saying that he signed the deal, it wasn't a thing then. So now he's selling the idea. Now, just as a business person myself, I understand why people would be like, hey, you have an idea, you build those things from scratch. You put in the work. It's streaming. It's your IP, your name, and everything like that. So why would you want to give some of that away? Now, I will say this in business, and especially now, we have this thing about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is just one of those things that now it's like, oh, I got to be the boss. I got to do this. I got to do that, especially in our community and particularly the Black community. But my question would really be is like 100% of nothing is nothing. And another thing is everybody isn't built to put in the work and build up a structure, find structure and everything like that and continue that drive. You know, there's a lot of people that's like that. Steve Jobs is like that. Like he had the idea, but he incorporated other people into helping to build Apple. He didn't start going in and learning the things in Apple and how to build a computer and stuff like that. And I noticed that like when white people do it, it's a good business move. And then when black people do it, they saying it's a sellout. I don't know. That would be a question for y'all. We're going to deep dive a little bit more into this and see where, what more structure, or what more conversation that he had to say about this.
This is my question.
Okay.
So this was my original channel that I built.
Okay.
When I started podcast and then went to Fubo. And then because we was on linear, we was on Fubo Network.
It's the same channel from that? It's the same channel from Fubo?
Yeah, no, but I had Fubo create their own channel, and this channel stayed dormant from 2018 to 2023. So basically what I did is I said, here, we can use my channel instead of going with, what was that, Showtime? Josiah, what was that first company that was trying to come in?
Showtime Basketball, right?
Yeah, so I said, instead of us going on Showtime, I got a YouTube channel. And I said, listen, I'll give you guys 50% of the YouTube channel if you guys fund it. If you guys can have full control, like where it comes to thumbnails, creating, because I didn't know nothing about none of that. So you guys had the infrastructure. You give me the infrastructure, we're good. And that's how it went.
How long does that last?
I'm a free agent, and we're me and Joe free agent this summer. BJ just signed a 2-year deal. Right, BJ, you just signed. You got re-upped.
Yeah, I signed a 1 year.
Oh, you signed 1 year. Oh, yeah. So we all free agents.
In the summer 26.
Yeah.
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah.
I guess there's other questions that need to be asked.
And see, and that's the thing that I was kind of saying is like, when you look at the streaming platforms and things right now, I understand where the question would come from, because when you look at people like Castanet, this young brother right here, Low, you have a lot of people in the streaming company. They're going to look at somebody like Gil and say, look, man, Gil, you could have did this off of your own name. There was no reason for you to actually do a 50-50 deal with them. So a lot of people looking at that deal kind of like sideways. But if you look at Gil's Arenas, and this is like now my personal opinion, look at Gil's Arena and look how decked out it is. Look at the studio, look at other people's podcasting and streaming and things like that. Even though people say like, you know, you could have did that yourself or you could have made that deal yourself. Look where he's streaming at. He's streaming in his bedroom, correct? Look where Gil and the boys stream at. That's a full-fledged production. And me being entertainment field, especially the recording side of it, like I don't think people realize how much it takes and how much it is to buy that studio equipment, to knock out walls, build things up, put a studio together, because they've never done it. You know, so I can speak from the aspect of that, because even when I looked at it, I was like, damn, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking at his basement and what they put in there. And if you negotiated a deal where it's 50-50 and you made them put together the structure of it all, which means that they're paying for the studio that he now owns, their staff and everything that they put together, the ceilings, the floor, everything that goes in there, the full-fledged production, you got them to pay for that and you didn't use your money and they did it, and then you're just contractually obligated just to go on the show and talk, and then you can restructure that deal and it's still his at the end of it, and you just got to restructure the deal. I'm not going to necessarily say that's a bad deal. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I know what it takes to build something from nothing, and that grind burns you out. I don't care what nobody says or whatever it is. And a lot of people will say, you know, hey, if you love it, you know, it doesn't mean that it's not work. And I don't really want to say it's a sellout, and it's a business again. And we're keeping it business, because the word sellout is the thing that's going on and the narrative that's going on. Like, damn, you know, you could have kept 100% of that, but he didn't know what the show was going to do. He didn't know what he was going to do. And secondly, and not even really trying to be funny, because I know people are going to be like, damn, you're trying to be funny. He's an athlete. an athlete that played basketball in his age, what would he know about streaming? Streaming has been around a long time. What would he know about streaming? What would he know? I mean, you're looking at the finished polished product, but what did he know about this thing going in? There's a lot of things that go in, and especially in our community, a lot of people are gatekeeper. He didn't know a lot of these people. When you get popping is when you know all these people. When you're not popping, then it's not. And even if you're talking about the entertainment company itself or the entertainment business, how many people have bad contracts just in the music industry alone? Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, there's a lot of people that done spoke about having bad contracts because they didn't know any better and they was expecting somebody else to do it, or they going in on big better faith. And then you take someone like Dr. Dre that came out of death row and then restructured in aftermath and made it better. But he had to go through the death row situation first, which he went through ruthless before then. That was a really bad contract. You understand? So he went through 2 different record companies before he landed where he needed to be. Does that make him a sellout because he just didn't know the whole thing about it? I think it's a real sticky scenario when we look at these type of things and have these type of conversations, and we're just saying like if someone is a sellout, because like when you're buying equipment and I'm streaming right now, so I know how much the equipment is as far as just the stream. But what he has is a full production company. I think that's a lot different than just streaming in your house, just putting things up when you streaming from your bedroom or your laptop or your camera, this and that. That wasn't what he was necessarily looking for. He was on a different podcast, and in this situation, he was on the Kwame Brown podcast, and I guess Antoine had some questions for him. It's crazy because I just did something where Antoine was on there, and then here go Antoine popping up again. That was kind of wild for me. But let's hear what he had to say right here.
When you say you needed the infrastructure, was the show already pitched? Because some people are saying that the show was pitched to Showtime or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you just cut out the middleman.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
See?
So that part, all right. So I got clarification on that. And then the other part, the other question that I have is, did you think that the show would be as big as it's going to be? And that's one of the reasons why you gave up equity into it.
No, I didn't know anything. I didn't know if it was going to be big or not.
Okay, I got you.
So,
Well,
you know
I mean,
what I mean?
that adds, that changes it a little bit for me. Because I almost think that if you would have known, and you can correct me, if you would have known what it was going to do, then you wouldn't have gave up the equity into it.
Yeah, but it was, the reason I gave up equity is because, so I used to do this in the weed, so I started in the weed game, right? I was I was the landlord. What I would do is I will have one of these growers come in, right? They build the infrastructure, they build the system, right?
Mm-hmm.
They build these elaborate systems. I let them get 2 crops in, and then I kick them out. Now I have the infrastructure, and then I take over the business. That was the same concept here. Let them come in here, build the studio, build all the equipment, do everything that's here. Mm-hmm. We got 2 years. Once it's over with, I got the infrastructure. Now I can set up shop a professional style. At first, I didn't know how to do any of that. And all I knew is most people just had a camera. They walked around with the camera. They set it up tripod style, and then they just do that. I didn't want that. I didn't want that style. I wanted what Matt Barnes. I wanted that look, the Pat McAfee look. So the only way to do that was to convince the sponsor. And I said, hey, listen, instead of you paying me, and then I shout out your underdog, and we do all this, we can be 50-50 partners. So you have skin in this game to build the show the way it is. You can use this as a commercial, meaning you got shorts, you can put your logo on it, you can put it in the algorithm, you can put it on my Instagram page, you can do this. So you are doing better because now you have full control of your product. Right? So because you have full control of your product, that's how you're going to make your money. You get to push the FTDs. You get to do all of that in-house, and you don't need just to pay someone these like a camera on and stuff like that. You don't have to pay them, and then they do it, and you don't like the product. You can
So at
fully
what,
control
at what point
it.
did you lose control though?
What do you mean?
Because you don't, based off of what you were saying, you don't get to determine how the show goes. You know what I'm saying? Because okay, the partnership, I get. You didn't really understand exactly how big the platform was going to get. I think you undersold yourself because you didn't realize how great you was as a content creator. Honestly, and I've given you props. I've always celebrated you and said that I think that you are incredible and that you got the #1 basketball show in the whole 9 yards.
And sometimes you have to let the smoke clear and everything like that, because see how I'm quite sure that y'all see some of the words or some of the comments that's coming through. People like sell out, or he trying to use fancy words and stuff like that. You don't let everybody in your game room. So I understand why Gil is going to tell, he don't need to open up his books to us. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's going to have an opinion, but an opinion is like an asshole. Everyone has one. Really at the end of the day, like now, he said they was on 2 days a week, and then the rest of the time, you know, the football sponsorships and this and that, they make a lot more money doing it like that. But what I will say is this: Gil's Arena, the arena had Skip Bayless and them on it. I watched Gil's Arena yesterday, as a matter of fact, and Gil's name was on there. So this whole thing about like he can't use his name and can't and they took his name away, obviously that's not true. And that's why I said he's not letting everybody in the game room. But as far as like structuring a deal and making the deal the way that's suited for you, it doesn't fit every narrative and it doesn't fit everybody. I think the thing is like everyone wants to say what you should do after the fact, you know, because I'm quite sure he was around enough people. And I know for a fact, like when I started doing content creation, when I started my own record company, when I started my own studio, when I started making my own film company, no one is around when those things are going on. No one has an opinion, or they like, really, that's what you want to do? Damn, I don't really know if that's going to work. I even was told that, man, maybe you need to keep your job, you know what I'm saying, and to help fund the company. No one wants to put in the work, and that's what I'm saying. So he came up with an idea where he had a company come in and fund basically everything. And when I sit back and think about it, me doing the work that I did and going through it, there were moments in time when I was burnt out. And I won't even front and lie about that. And thinking and listening to him saying that, I would say if I had the opportunity to have someone come in, build a studio, pay for it, I'm going to own it. And I did a contract with them. I'm just coming in, they're paying me too on top of that. And then they're paying my homeboys. I'm not even paying my homeboys. They're paying them. I don't really see the problem in that. But it's different strokes for different folks. So I don't really know, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Because you could deep dive and go into this a lot of different ways. But as far as like thinking he'll sell out, like I'm not gonna say, man, he's a sellout, because really at the end of the day, he's being transparent and he's basically saying, I didn't know what to do. This was a deal that came out. He also didn't know how big it was gonna be, and it's one of the biggest shows that's out now. To be completely honest, I don't even really watch First Take no more. I watch Gil's Arenas, and I don't watch a lot of the other basketball shows like Jeff T, Carmelo Anthony. I like those guys, this and that, but even Up in Smoke, I don't even really watch Matt Barnes and them. You know what I'm saying? So my preferred show of choice actually is his, but I'm not gonna say like he's a necessarily sellout because he did a business deal. Because like I said, if you look at white America and corporate America, they build companies from the scratch to sell them. Now, I know in the black community, they're going to say, well, when is enough money enough? Just because he's Gil's Arena don't mean I want to use, he wants to use his money. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, just because I'm 51 Spade don't mean I want to use my money. If I had the opportunity to use somebody else's money, whether I'm rich or not, I would use their money. I mean, this is like, what are we doing this for? Are we doing this for ego? Are we doing this for pride? Like sometimes you have to let your pride and your ego go. It'll be the end of you, and you end up in a worst case scenario. So I don't know. Those are just my thoughts, man. But y'all tell me what y'all think. I will leave the description to the content so y'all can view what was actually going on, and I want to give credit to the content creators and where this information came from. And yeah, I'm about to sign up out this thing. So y'all have any questions, y'all can hit me up at perryamgllc@gmail.com. And yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and sign us out as this is Talking Area 51. Welcome to the Perry AMG Network. And if you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And until next time, man, peace.